My name is Ayla. I'm 24 years old. And 3 weeks ago, my mother threw a crumpled suit at my chest and said 7 words I'll never forget. You don't deserve anything new, Ayla. The interview was in 2 days. The biggest of my life. And she handed me my sister Rena's old blazer, 2 sizes too big, shoulder pads from a different era, a loose button on the cuff. Rena stood right there watching, arms crossed, smiling. She always smiled like that when she won. Here's what none of them knew. The company I was interviewing at? Rena worked there, 3 floors above the interview room. And the CEO, the woman who would decide my future, already knew something was wrong the moment I walked in. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Growing up, my parents weren't poor. Dad had a stable union job. Mom managed a dental office. We owned the house, 2 cars, a fence they repainted twice. But every time I needed something, school shoes, a calculator, a laptop, the answer was always the same. We just don't have it right now. Rena got a brand new MacBook for her freshman year at a 4-year university. I went to community college. They said it was all they could afford. Rena's old room got a $30,000 renovation after she moved out. New floors, new fixtures, a sliding glass door. I asked for help with textbooks that same semester. We just don't have it, Ayla. After years of hearing it, I stopped arguing. I stopped asking. I built a freelance graphic design career off a cracked iPad and free YouTube tutorials. My portfolio was good, 3 full rebrands, a nonprofit campaign that boosted donations by 40%. But every time I thought about applying for a real agency job, I'd hear Rena's voice in my head. You're talented, Ayla, but you don't have the discipline for full-time work. She said that at Thanksgiving, in front of our parents. Mom nodded. So I stayed small. I stayed exactly where they put me. Until 5 weeks ago, when I saw a job listing for a junior designer at Crestwell Creative, one of the best agencies in the city. I stared at it for 2 hours before I hit submit. 3 days later, interview confirmed. Sunday dinner. Same table. Same seats. I waited until Mom set her fork down. I have an interview. A real agency. It's important. I need a suit. She didn't even look up. Rena has one. I'll dig it out. Mom, it won't fit. She's taller, and it's old. Then make it work. She picked her fork back up like the conversation was already over. You don't deserve new things, Ayla. Not until you prove you can hold a job. That sentence landed exactly where it always does. Right in the center of my chest. I took the suit home, laid it on the bed, stared at it. Then I got out the safety pins. 7 pins total. I pinned the waist, the hem, the cuffs. The morning of the interview, I changed in the lobby restroom because the suit was too bulky for the bus. Standing at that mirror, I straightened the jacket and noticed something inside the collar. Stitched in faded thread. TM. Not RM. Not Rena's initials. TM, my mother's. This wasn't Rena's suit. It had never been Rena's suit. It was from the 90s, maybe earlier. My mother had looked me in the eye and lied. That was the first lie I could prove. I adjusted the pins. I walked into the lobby. I pressed the elevator button. The interview panel was 3 people. But the woman in the center chair, silver hair, reading glasses on a chain, did something unexpected when I walked in. She didn't look at my face first. She looked at my shoulders, at the safety pin catching the light near my cuff. Then she stood up, took off her own blazer, and held it out. Wear this. Sit down. Drop a comment. Have you ever been handed someone else's cast-offs and told it was all you deserved? The interview lasted 45 minutes. They asked about my portfolio, my process, my brand identity work. I answered everything. I was good, and I knew it. At the end, the 2 managers left. The woman in the center, Donna Hall, CEO and founder of Crestwell Creative, stayed. She looked at me across the table and said, very quietly, I know exactly who put you in that suit. Something about the way she said it stopped me cold. Not what kind of family, but who, like she had a name in mind. I didn't ask. I shook her hand and left. She told me to keep the blazer until I came back. I walked to the bus stop in a CEO's jacket and my mother's 30-year-old suit, And I didn't know yet that I just walked into the middle of my sister's most elaborate lie. Rena called that evening.
Hey.
How'd it go? Where was it again? She'd already asked me that a week earlier. I'd told her then. Crestwell Creative, I said. 2 seconds of silence. Not 1, not 3. Exactly 2. Long enough to absorb something you already knew but needed confirmed. Oh, cool. Good luck. She hung up. Something felt off. I couldn't name it yet. 4 days later, a college acquaintance, Priya, spotted me at a coffee shop. Still at Crestwell? I asked, catching up. Junior designer. 3 years now. She tilted her head. You know your sister works there, right? The espresso machine kept grinding. Someone's kid kept yelling. But inside my head, everything went silent. Rena worked at Crestwell Creative, 3 floors above the room where I'd interviewed. She had never once told me the name of her company. Every time I asked, it was a downtown agency, or you wouldn't know it. She'd known where I was interviewing before I walked in. Where was it again? She already knew. I went home and searched her name on Crestwell's website. The team page was clean. Professional headshots. Short bios. I found hers. I read the summary line first. Overcame significant family hardship to pursue a career in creative strategy. I read it again. Family hardship. Rena had a paid-off apartment our parents helped buy. A car they co-signed. She went to a 4-year university on their money. She had never, not once, gone without. I clicked the full bio. Growing up in a household where resources were scarce, I learned early that creativity was my only way out. I put myself through community college while working part-time to support my family. I wore hand-me-downs and shared a room with my sister until I was 18. I stopped breathing. Community college, that was me. Working part-time to support the family, that was me. I sent money home when I freelanced. Rena never sent a cent. Hand-me-downs, that was me. Rena always had new clothes. Shared a room, technically true, until our parents gave Rena her own room and I stayed in the smaller one. Every single detail in that bio was my life. Not hers. Mine. She hadn't exaggerated. She hadn't embellished. She had taken my story, the whole thing, detail by detail, and put her name on it. She wore my life the way I wore her suit. Something that didn't belong to her, held together by the assumption that no one would ever check. I opened a folder on my phone and named it Proof. I screenshotted every line. Then I texted Priya. Can we talk about Rena? 3 dots appeared. Then, I was wondering when you'd ask. But before I could respond, my phone rang.
Mom.
So, how did the interview go, sweetie? Her voice was lighter than usual. Almost cheerful. That put me on guard immediately.
Fine.
I think it went well. Oh, good. But Rena said those agencies are really competitive. The good ones. Don't feel bad if you don't hear back. She wasn't calling to congratulate me. She was calling to manage my expectations downward. Using Rena's name as the authority, like my sister's opinion about my future was a weather forecast I should plan around. Then it hit me. When had Mom talked to Rena about my interview? I hadn't told Rena which company until after the interview. But Mom was quoting Rena in present tense, like they'd just spoken. They'd talked before this call. Maybe before the interview. The pattern was forming like a watermark, invisible until you hold the paper up to the light at exactly the right angle. This is where I found the text messages. Comment below if you've ever felt like your own family was working against you. The following Sunday, I went back to my parents' house for dinner. I needed something, and the only way to get it was to sit at that table one more time. Mom was in the kitchen when I arrived. She'd left her phone on the counter, face down, the way she always did, like that made it private. She went to check the backyard grill. I had maybe 3 minutes. I picked up the phone. No passcode. Mom didn't believe in them. If you've got nothing to hide, you don't need a lock, she'd always said. The irony of that was about to hit hard. I opened her messages. Scrolled to Rena's name.
Tapped.
The thread was long. Months of messages. I scrolled to 3 days before my interview. Rena's message. Timestamped 9:47 p.m. She applied to my company, Mom. Don't let her buy a new suit. Let her wear the old one. She'll bomb the interview and stop dreaming. Trust me. I read it twice. Then a third time. She'll bomb the interview and stop dreaming. Below it, Mom's reply. Okay. I'll handle it. No hesitation. No, that's cruel. No, she's your sister. Just, I'll handle it. But that wasn't all. I scrolled further up the thread. 2 weeks before the interview, Rena had sent another message. She's been talking about applying to agencies. Keep telling her freelance is more her speed. She listens to you more than she thinks. Mom's reply, already on it. Told her last week, she doesn't have the discipline for full-time. She didn't argue. Doesn't have the discipline. I'd heard that phrase from Rena at Thanksgiving 2 years ago. I'd heard versions of it from Mom a dozen times after that. Now I could see the pipeline. Rena fed the line to Mom. Mom delivered it to me. And I absorb it like it was original thought, like it came from somewhere real, somewhere true. The words I'd been using to hold myself back were never my own. They were manufactured. Assembly line cruelty. I took 6 screenshots. My hands were shaking so bad the first 2 were blurry. I put the phone back face down exactly where it had been. Mom came inside. Dinner's almost ready. Set the table. I set the table. Forks on the right, the way she liked. I poured water into matching glasses. I sat down and ate pot roast and listened to Dad talk about a job in the next town over. I smiled and nodded and said, "That sounds great, Dad, in all the right places." Inside, I was holding a grenade. The suit, the words, the humiliation. All of it designed by my sister. Executed by my mother. That night I drove home with the screenshots on my phone, and one question I couldn't stop asking myself. How long had Rena been running this family? Monday morning. I sat across from Donna Hall for the second time. No small talk. I opened my phone, pulled up the screenshots, and slid it across the desk. Donna picked it up. Read. 10 seconds of silence. She told your mother to sabotage the interview, Donna said. Not a question. Yes. And your mother did it. Yes. Donna leaned back. When she spoke again, her voice was lower. Slower. Like she was being very careful. I hired Rena 4 years ago. Promoted her twice. Gave her a raise last year, based on a performance review where she described growing up in hand-me-downs, working her way through community college. She paused. Her entire brand in this company is built on your life, Ayla. And she tried to destroy you to protect it. She opened the manila folder on her desk. Inside, Rena's performance reviews, her bio draft, her mentoring program application. All of it built on the same lie. I'm going to talk to her, Donna said. And then I'm going to talk to HR. But I want you to know, the position you interviewed for is still open. She looked me in the eye. Don't tell your sister. Let me handle this. Have you ever found out someone close to you was actively working against you? Drop it in the comments. Part 4 is where everything falls apart for Rena. Conference room, behead glass walls. I mentioned that because it matters. Everyone in the open office could see in and they could see exactly who walked out. I arrived at 9:50 a.m. Donna was already there. So was the HR director with a legal pad. Priya sat in the corner, not as a participant, but as a witness. Donna had asked her to be there. At 9:58, Rena walked in. She was dressed for a performance review, not a reckoning. Black pantsuit, gold earrings, the leather notebook she carried everywhere. She smiled at Donna. She smiled at HR. She glanced at me, and her smile tightened, just slightly, like a rubber band stretched one notch too far. Have a seat, Donna said. Rena sat across from me, hands folded, composed. Donna opened. Rena, I've called this meeting to clarify some inconsistencies. Rena nodded. Professional. Unfazed. And then, right on cue, she delivered her closing argument before anyone had even presented the case. My sister has always struggled with comparison, she said, her voice measured and sad. She didn't get the same opportunities one did. I love Ayla, but she has a pattern of reinterpreting situations to match how she feels. She applied here without telling me, and now she's trying to use our family dynamics to get something she hasn't earned. One tear, right on time. Perfect trajectory down her left cheek. I built my career here from nothing. And it hurts that she's trying to take that from me. The room was quiet. Donna opened a folder. Rena, your company bio states you attended community college while supporting your family. She placed a single printed sheet on the table, verification from the college registrar. There is no enrollment record for Rena Metaf. Not in any program. Not in any semester. She let that sit for 3 full seconds. There is, however, a complete enrollment record for Ayla Metaf. 2-year design program. Graduated with a 3.6 GPA. Rena didn't look at the paper. She stared at the wall behind Donna's head. Records get mixed up. I might have used a different name for a semester. Bridget from HR looked up. Which name?
Silence.
3 seconds.
4. 5.
Rena opened her mouth.
Closed it.
Opened it again. I'd have to check. Bridget wrote something down. The pen click was the loudest sound in the room. Then Donna reached for the conference phone in the center of the table. She dialed.
Speaker on.
It rang twice. Mom answered. Hello. Mrs. Metaf, this is Donna Hall, CEO of Crestwell Creative, where your daughter Rena works. Did Rena send you a text 3 weeks ago asking you to prevent Ayla from buying a new suit for her interview? Silence. I could hear my mother breathing through the speaker.
Shallow. Fast.
The sound of someone realizing the walls have ears. Yes, she said quietly. She did. Rena stood up, so fast her chair scraped across the floor, loud enough that everyone on the other side of the glass walls turned to look. This is insane. She went through Mom's phone. That's a violation of privacy. She was spinning, looking for a foothold, finding none. Donna connected her laptop to the conference room screen. The screenshots appeared. Full resolution. Every word visible to everyone in the room. She applied to my company, Mom. Don't let her buy a new suit. Let her wear the old one. She'll bomb the interview and stop dreaming. Trust me. Donna read it aloud. Slowly. Every word given its full weight. Rena looked around the room. Priya was staring at the table. HR was writing without looking up. Donna was watching her with an expression I can only describe as clinical disappointment. Nobody met her eyes. I stood up. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. You took my story, Rena. She was still standing. Still shaking. You took my community college, my part-time jobs, my hand-me-downs. You wore them to every meeting, every review, every promotion in this building. You turned my life into your brand. I paused. And then you made sure I'd walk in here looking exactly like what you told everyone I was. Someone who doesn't deserve anything new. I looked at her. For the first time in my life, she had nothing to say. But I'm the one who lived it. That story is mine. And you don't get to wear it anymore. Donna spoke into the quiet. Rena, effective immediately, you are suspended pending a formal HR investigation. Rena walked out of conference room B through those glass walls, across the open office floor, while everyone watched in silence.
She didn't look at any of them.
Megan fell in beside me. The position is yours, Donna said, if you want it. I said yes. The fallout came fast. Within the week, HR discovered Rena had been filing a fraudulent tax deduction on top of everything else. She was formally terminated. Her LinkedIn went dark. Her Instagram, full of posts about self-made success and building something from nothing, went private overnight. Mom called that evening. Defensive. Shaking. You went through my phone. How could you do that to your own family? I let her finish. Then I said it clearly. You handed me a suit from the 90s and told me I didn't deserve new things. And Rena told you to do it. My dad's voice from somewhere in the background. Just let it go, Lauren. The family motto. Let it go when they lie about you. Let it go when your sister builds her career on your suffering. I'm not letting it go, I said. I'm letting you go. If you want to talk to me again, it starts with the truth. Not Rena's version. The real one. I hung up. My first day at Crestwell, I wore a blazer I bought myself. Dark gray. Fitted. No pins. I chose it from a secondhand shop, not because I couldn't afford new, but because I wanted to choose. The choosing mattered more than the price tag. I didn't sit at Rena's old desk. I chose one by the window, 2 rows over. I didn't need her space. I needed my own. I set up my new company laptop. Then I placed my cracked iPad right next to it. I didn't throw it away. Every project I'd ever built was on that screen. Every late night, every tutorial, every client I chased down and delivered for. The cracks were part of the record. That evening I went home and hung my new blazer on the hook by the door. The same hook that once held a pinned-together suit someone gave me to make me fail. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror. Same cracked tile. Same flickering light. But the woman looking back was different. Not because she'd gotten the job. Not because she'd exposed the lie. The change was simpler than that. For the first time, I could look at my own reflection and not hear anyone else's voice telling me what I deserved. They gave me a suit that didn't fit and called it enough. But the suit was never the problem. The problem was a family that needed me to stay small so one of them could feel big. I don't wear hand-me-downs anymore. Not the clothes. Not the story. This one is mine. If this story hit different, like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Have you ever had someone in your family take credit for your struggles? Tell me below. I read every single one.